I've been meaning to make this review for quite a while. It's just, I've really had no motivation to do any reviews. Like, this thing was done, but I just never had the, inclination or desire to produce it, I guess. I don't know, that's kind of what happens when you kind of want to do other things than just make videos and play video games. Like making comics is one thing that I've been doing, but that's besides the point. I've never played a Yoshi game before because they never really interested me. Like from Yoshi's Island until Yoshi's Woolly World, which is when my interest peaked, but I still never bought it. So Yoshi's Crafted World is my very first Yoshi game. Well, except for Yoshi and Yoshi's Cookie on the NES, but those don't count. And I don't know what made me pick up this game. I think I just wanted to try a platform game that wasn't Sonic or Mario, something that had different mechanics from other ones, so it was more of needing something that I haven't really played before. Yoshi's Crafted World was announced at E3 2017, slated for a 2018 release, but delayed to 2019. It uses the Unreal 4 engine, which actually surprises me to see a Nintendo property being on the Unreal Engine, but Nintendo did not develop this game, a Japanese developer called Goodfield did, and they also did Woolly World for the Wii U, and hopefully they port it to the Switch. I know there's a port on the 3DS, but come on, that's a dying system now. The game has a very adorable look to it, like Little Big Planet, or Tearaway. Characters look like they're made of felt. The levels look like they're made out of cardboard and paper. It's a nice looking design, I really do enjoy it. And the game runs at 60 frames per second, but cutscenes run at much lower rate. I think it's meant to give that stop motion feel, but the only time that stop motion effect works is when you're at the vending machine for costumes. The music is just awful. It's trying to be cute and mellow, which is fine in the beginning of the game, but as you go on, it doesn't escalate at all in any way like a Mario game would. It just doesn't build any tension. It just remains calm for the most part of it and seems to be the same. I swear I heard the same song in different levels. You're given control of a Yoshi, not the Yoshi, just to make sure there's no confusion. It can run, jump, crawl, swallow things, and poop them out as eggs. So this way you could throw stuff at them, or you could spit it out. It's a 2.5D platformer. You're able to move from the foreground to the background, but not at will like Little Big Planet, as you can only do it on certain paths. It's a very nice touch, though. I've heard people complain about throwing things and having a hard time aiming as the cursor will sort of snap to things in the background or the foreground. But it was something I never really had an issue with. In fact, I had the opposite problem where it wouldn't connect with what I was aiming for. As mentioned, you get costumes, you use coins that you collect in the stages to pay for them, but they're given out randomly. The ones that you want are super rare ones, as they give you an additional 5 free hit points as opposed to the rare which gives you 4 and the common that gives 3. I don't get why they give you a max of 20 hit points when each hit from an enemy is like 5. You can ride a Poochie in some of the levels, which is kinda cool, I guess. It's not used very often, but I feel indifferent to it. I could take it or leave it. The story has to do with Bowser Jr. wanting the 7 Chaos Emeralds, I mean the 5 gems that have been scattered across the world, and it's your job to stop them. It's pretty basic, but there's a lot of written dialogue which there's too much of, so I just started skipping it. The biggest issue with this game is that it's boring. There's a lot to do. Go after this game's version of the stars or moons or whatever, then go to the next world or boss. There's really no challenge at all to this game. There's very little difficult platforming, there's no challenging puzzles, bosses are easy, the time challenges offer the only challenge in the sense of doing it perfect, which feels more like memorizing rather than skill, as some of the things to collect appear off screen, so if you missed one, then it was either to the left or to the right of you where you couldn't see it and you just went the wrong direction. Some people may say, it's like, well, this is a game for children. Yeah, okay. Are you saying kids can't be challenged? But I'm not saying that it's not challenging in the sense of, maybe Mario or Sonic not being that challenging. I'm talking about, like, one of those Nick Jr. games, like a Dora the Explorer game where you just can't lose type of no challenge. That's what I'm talking about. Like, the game might as well just play itself that there's no challenge. And probably the hardest thing to collect were the red coins. At first they look like regular coins, but they spin differently. There's 20 hidden in every stage. And you can do the stages backwards to find 3 Poochies. You can do a treasure hunt for the robots, but it's all so boring and the music doesn't help at all. It's more likely to put me to sleep rather than get me engaged with it. Yoshi's Crafted World isn't bad. It's a well-crafted game, pun intended. But with how boring I thought it was, it's barely tolerable. And since this review is probably pretty short, I'm going to add in a bonus review. That's right, you're getting a 2-in-1 review. A game called Ultrawings Flat. And full disclosure, I got this game for free. The developer contacted me and gave me a code for the game. This is the second time I got a game to review from a developer or publisher. The first was from Gung Ho Entertainment, who gave me a code for Grandia 2, but I already had it at the time. I don't mind buying my own games. In fact, I kinda prefer it. But when a company gives me a review copy, it makes me feel like I am moving in the right direction. And also, I'm poor, so of course I'm going to take free stuff. I used to really be into flight simulators when I was in middle and high school. I think I played Microsoft Flight Simulator 98 for many hours. So when I was given a code to review a flight simulator, I had to ask myself, do I still have that love for flight sims? Ultrawings Flat was developed by BitPlanet Games, and from the email that I was sent, it's on Steam and the Nintendo Switch. The game is really nice looking. I like the bright colors and the island setting. The art style is pretty cartoony with blocky looking mountains. I'm reminded of Pilot Wings, which may have been an inspiration for the game. The sound does need some tweaking. The volume for the people telling you what to do or giving you tips is way too quiet, and I haven't seen an option to change that. And it would be nice to see those tips as a subtitle. This would actually be a really good game for a VR headset. The mouse moves the camera and you interact with the stuff in the world. Like having to pick up a disc and then put it into a computer to load the game. You have to actually turn the knobs for the volume. I really like these little touches. It adds that little bit of interactivity that shows that they went the extra mile. When it comes to the controls, with an Xbox One controller, it feels weird and not right, and the controller controls don't feel like they're explained all that well. It feels much better with a mouse and keyboard. I don't know about the Nintendo Switch. You would have to try that on your own. I don't have that version. And while it's a flight sim, it's structured in a game-like fashion. You start out with a small plane, which is essentially a go-kart with wings and a fan. I think they call them ultralights or something, I don't know, because I forgot what it's actually called. And you complete challenges to make money. You could then use that money to buy new airports and planes. It's a rather slow grind, however. As I did play a couple of hours, I got a new airport, but not a new type of plane. And while I thank the developers for giving me the chance to review this, I don't think that flight sims are my thing anymore, and are something that I am not qualified to review. I will say that if you do like flight sims, I would recommend it. It's $10, so it's worth a shot. And while flight sims, they're just not my thing anymore, I did like what I played, even if it was only for a few hours. Because it did feel like I was actually flying a real winged go-kart, whatever it's called. The physics felt pretty realistic from what I can remember from my flight simulator days. The flight physics feel a lot better than Microsoft's Flight Simulator 98, from which I have the most experience with. So like I said, if you're into flight sims, this is worth getting.